timing for Thor to bring us his top 5 movies of the year.
So excited for this.
Me too.
Always love this time of year because I get to unveil my top favorites of the year. Not doing the 10, we're doing the 5 here.
Doing the 5.
We begin, number 5, with one of the best family drama thrillers of the year from Canadian director Denis Villeneuve. And this stars Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal. We're talking, of course, about Prisoners. Oh, and this was with the cinematography of Roger Deakins. So you see the look of the film. It is crisp. It is haunting. It's got a wonderful score that really pulls you into this dark area. It's about child abduction. Not an easy watch. It's quite long. You know, it's got a runtime of almost 2.5 hours. But I was literally glued to my seat the whole time. It is one of the edgiest thrillers I've seen in a long time. And I think a career-topping performance for Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. I loved every minute of this movie. It's full of great twists and turns. One of my favorites of the year.
Give me goosebumps. I was not expecting. I have not seen this list, I should say.
Yeah.
So, okay, Prisoners.
The entire cast is incredible in this one. Moving along, we have to give some credit to Richard Linklater in his 3rd movie with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, a trilogy and one of the most wonderful in Hollywood history, Before Midnight. He's picked up with these characters every 9 years. It started in the 90s with Before Sunrise, and then he had Before Sunset. And now we've got Before Midnight, which is just a beautiful story of the continuing relationship of these two wonderful characters. It's set in Greece, beautifully shot, wonderful moments, very long takes. Some of the conversations go like, 10, 15 minutes, and seemingly a lot of them are in one take. And it covers everything from love, sex, death, relationships, kids, just looking at your life at a certain point when you're in there to do a lot of introspection. Loved every minute of this one. Wonderful film, one of the best screenplays of the year as well.
This is why I love your top 5. So far, no Hollywood blockbuster type.
Yeah.
Not the big money action films. These are the ones that strike a chord with the moviegoer.
Oh yeah, and this was a great example of sort of that indie feel. Now for my number 3 pick, this is a similar movie about human relationships, but it brings in the existence of technology. We're talking about Spike Jonze and Her. Joaquin Phoenix gives the best performance, hands down, of his career.
Really?
Scarlett Johansson in this movie, but you'll never see her appear on camera because she is the voice of his operating system. This is set in the near future in Los Angeles. Joaquin Phoenix gives a heartbreaking performance as a man struggling with his identity. He's getting over a divorce, and in the near future they have this operating system that sort of embodies everything about you and constructs its own almost sentient robot or computer that is able to do all of your tasks and have a conversation with you. He forms a relationship with his computer essentially, but it never gets weird or inappropriate. It's probably Spike Jonze's most powerful film and personal film. It's got a wonderful screenplay and an Arcade Fire score that just adds to the beautiful, nuanced sort of moodiness of the movie. But look at it, it's just simply gorgeous, and I love Joaquin in this movie. Such a 180 from last year's The Master.
I'm sold. I'm going. This is my next movie in the theaters. That sounds like the perfect movie for my type of moviegoer.
You would dig it.
Yeah, we just gave away passes to our Facebook friend of the day to go see Her.
Very timely. Check it out. Number 2.
All right.
Captain Phillips. Tom Hanks had a great year with Saving Mr. Banks, but this one, he is incredible as the real-life story, embellished a little bit, but one of the best Hollywood thrillers of the year from director Paul Greengrass, who usually gives us a lot of shaky cam, which is present in this movie, but he held back a little bit and really told a wonderful story about this hijacking of this container ship off the coast of Somalia. The moment you see the little blip of the radar on their screen, right there, as soon as you see that, you're hooked, you're riveted. Great soundtrack, you're pulled into the whole thing. And the best moment, Jody, is at the very end of the film, the final scene, when all this is said and done. It's the denouement, if you will. Tom Hanks, in a nearly wordless scene, conveying all the emotion that's been pent up through this whole experience. And it is a beautiful, beautiful scene, and I was shedding tears in this one. It is a gripping thriller.
Ooh, Captain Phillips. We've heard so much about it, but I love the way you explain that story, how you're captured by it, because you forget that these are actors.
Yeah.
You're taken into the story and that realism to it. Okay. The moment we've been waiting for.
That was a mesmerizing ride, hard to top, but as soon as I saw this one, I knew it was my favorite of the year, and it has not changed. I've seen it 3 times, 12 Years a Slave.
You've seen it 3 times?
Yes, and Steve McQueen is a British director. He was an art student before he got into film, and that is so obvious when you see this movie. A lot of these shots and the scenes, they play out like paintings, beautiful portraits. Chiwetel Ejiofor, heartbreaking performance as a man who is a free man in New York, gets sold into slavery, has to work in the plantations of the Deep South. A wonderful screenplay screenplay that elicits the sort of dialect of the time. Wonderful performances. The editing was beautiful. The score from Hans Zimmer was great. In my mind, it was a perfect film, and it was the quintessential movie of 2013. That's why it is my #1, 12 Years a Slave. A hard one to watch, but a very important one, and to me, it doesn't get any better this year for films.
The perfect film.
There you go.
I never thought I would hear you utter such words, Thor Dykow. Your top 5 movies. You heard it right here. We're going to post them up on Facebook just in case you missed any of that, so you can keep the list. I've now got a list of movies I must see. I totally trust you, Thor.